Hi there, my name is Melanie Uwe of Blue Lotus Henna based in Portland, Oregon. And today I'm going to show you how to use my henna kit. The kit comes in this cute tin and it contains 10 grams of fresh henna powder and 2 small or 1 larger vial of blended essential oils, so make sure to use all of it because that's equal to about 1 teaspoon. And then I've made it really easy for you by rolling the henna cone for you. So all you need to do is mix the henna paste, let it activate, and then load the cone. The written instructions are very simple and clear and easy to follow, and I've included a practice sheet so that you can actually start by tracing over the design elements and drawing a little bit on paper to get you comfortable before you start drawing on skin. There's also 12 really cute and easy to copy designs for you to get started. So let's begin. So to get started, you want to put your henna powder into a glass or ceramic bowl, and you need 2 tablespoons roughly of distilled water or lemon juice, your essential oils, and some sugar. So here I have 4 or 5 grams of raw turbinado sugar, but really any kind of sugar will do, and you can even use honey or molasses. So we're going to start by adding the water or the lemon juice to the henna powder, and we begin, since we just have 10 grams of powder, we want to start with about 1 tablespoon of liquid. And you want to mix that in really thoroughly with a spatula or a fork or a spoon, and that'll take a couple of minutes to blend the powder with the liquid. My personal preference for using distilled water is that it actually will activate a little faster and more reliably, so that the dye could be ready within about 4 to 6 hours depending on the room temperature. Whereas with lemon juice, you sometimes have to wait about 24 hours for it to be activated. So starting with 1 tablespoon, that was not quite enough. So I'm going slowly as I add the liquid, because if you add too much liquid, you can't go back. So I'm going to put in just about 1/4 of a tablespoon more, just being conservative. We just go bit by bit until we have a consistency that's like a slightly stiff frosting. Tiny bit more. So be patient with it, because we're going to be adding in essential oils and then also the sugar, and that all changes the runniness of it. So the paste is now pretty smooth and nicely blended, and I've added a total of 1.5 tablespoons of the liquid today. And so it is that smooth, stiff frosting texture. And so now I can add in the essential oils. So I'll put in what comes to a teaspoon of essential oils, and then you want to work that into the paste as well, and just really make sure to go carefully and slowly at first, because you don't want to splash the oils out of the bowl, because they take a few minutes to blend in with the paste. So now that the essential oils are nicely blended in with the paste, I'm going to add the sugar in, and for 10 grams of henna powder, I'm going to be just a tiny bit conservative and add 4 grams of the raw turbinado sugar. And that is usually pretty much the sweet spot, but it really just depends on if you're in an environment that is very humid or very dry. So if you're in a really dry, arid environment, you might want to add about 1 gram more of sugar. If you're in a very humid environment, be more conservative with the sugar and add a little less, so around 3 grams would probably be the perfect amount for 10 grams of henna powder. So your total mixing time is going to be about 5 minutes altogether. The more you mix and agitate your henna paste, the better the dye is going to be. So once everything is really smooth, you're going to cover it with some plastic wrap and just leave it on the counter for about 6 hours before you do the initial dye release test. So at this point, the henna has been sitting for about 6 hours, so it's time to do a dye release test. So unwrap it. And then just take a dollop of it on your finger, or with a spoon, and put a generous dollop on the heel of your hand where the skin is the thickest. We're going to leave it for 5 minutes and then scrape it off to see what color we get. So it's been exactly 5 minutes. So we're going to scrape off the paste from my skin using the spatula or a butter knife. It's not 100% dry, so it comes off easily. And that's worked. You can see that there is a bright orange dot on my palm, and that shows that the dye has released and it's ready to use the henna paste. If your stain is just a very light orange or a little bit dull, leave the paste for about 1 more hour and then test it again and continue that until you get that bright orange stain. So in order to strain your paste, you just want to take a jar or a glass and stretch a pantyhose stocking over it, and then you will just scrape all of the well-mixed paste that should already be activated into the stocking so that you can strain it through. Now, one of the cleanest ways to strain your paste is to take the stocking and put it inside of a small Ziploc bag down into the corner, and then you're going to grip it really firmly with your hand and pull the stocking through so that all of the paste just squelches out into the bag. And that's the cleanest way to do it. It's not the most fun way. And then you can just press all of the paste down into one corner. And this is great for if you just want to store the paste in the baggie. You can press all the air out of it, seal it up, and put it in the fridge or the freezer. Or if you're ready to cone it up, then from here we just cut the corner off the Ziploc bag and squeeze it into the cone. So what I find is the most convenient way to load a henna cone is to find a bottle with a wide base and a small neck. So this used sake bottle is ideal. And it just holds the cone perfectly for you if you're on your own, or else someone can hold it for you. So now I've cut the corner off the Ziploc bag, and I can put it into the cone and really easily squeeze all the paste very cleanly into the cone. You can also just spoon it in if you don't want to do it with the bag, but this is very clean and tidy, and it doesn't end up all over your fingers. And then you just squish all of the henna down into the tip of the cone, which might take a little bit of pressure. Accordion fold the top, and then use one of the small rubber bands to secure that tightly. I prefer to use rubber bands to secure my cones rather than sticky tape, because it really keeps them in a more actual conical shape, and I feel like that fits easily in my hand as I draw. So there we go. So now we have a perfect 1 ounce size henna cone. You can start drawing with it now, or if you want to save it for later, wrap it up in some paper towel and a Ziploc bag to make it airtight, and it will last in the fridge for about 1 week, or in the freezer for up to 6 months. If you're ready to draw with your henna cone, then you want to cut off the tip of it with some nail clippers or some small sharp scissors. I prefer nail clippers because I feel like they're more precise than larger scissors. Be a little conservative and just cut a small amount at a time if you're not really sure, and then you'll test it out to see if it's flowing smoothly. If it's not, then just cut off a little bit more. It's sort of the same when you're mixing the paste. You can't go back, so just go bit by bit. So I'm going to squeeze it and see if it's flowing, which it's not, that's too small. So I'll cut a little bit more and test that out. Ideally, you want the paste to come out with just an almost effortless squeeze. It should be nice and smooth, and you're not straining your hand at all. If you're straining your hand, then you need to cut more off the tip. Now you can start practicing on your practice sheet or on a plain piece of paper and get comfortable squeezing the paste out, draping straight lines, practicing some spirals and circles and frills, and once you feel comfortable with the way that you're holding it, you can start drawing on skin. Thank you for watching, and I hope this makes your experience with my henna kit really easy and enjoyable.